to show on the road.
Yeah. We got people to see.
Okay, good evening. This is the Conservation Commission of Town of Norfolk, December 11th, 2019. Please be aware that this meeting is video and audio taped. For the people in the audience, if you're speaking, please use a microphone, identify yourself. If you live in town, including your address, and that way it's on record. So the first thing we have is 12 Lakeshore Drive, NOI 24621.
All right. 12 Lake Show?
No.
No?
So we're expecting somebody, or can we just?
I thought they would be here.
You were here last time, right?
Okay. Why don't we move ahead? Can't move ahead yet. And see if they show up a few minutes late.
Yeah, because it is, I know the parking lot was getting slippery, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the roads are like right now.
Yeah. Since we have a few minutes, just to let you know, we did get a signed document from our attorney, Dan Hill, with the stipulation of dismissal for all the legal against us from 144 Seekonk Street. So it's in the record, it's done. They still can come back at the town, but it'll be a new issue, legal. So, but we're clean and good to go. Lakeshore Drive? No. Not yet. Okay, so for tomorrow, where there, I know Alan was interested in going but can't. Is anybody else thinking of going out there? There's no reason to go out there because with the snow, we can't see wetlands. So we probably can go out some other time when they're in front of us. So it was a nice invitation, but because of the snow, it doesn't work. So we'll leave it at that.
No one is going?
No.
Okay,
No.
good. Did you let, okay, super.
And, okay, do you have the report for Callahan Pond?
I believe it's in your packet. It's bottom of your packet.
I don't know if you got the one with the colored
This
picture
one.
on it.
Yeah, it's
Oh, there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're not special. Ours are colored.
Okay, so they lowered it. I guess everything's fine. Do you see anything, Miss Janet?
No.
Okay. All right, 705, 360 Main Street. Come on down.
Are we live?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening. Scott Jordan from Ecotech. And so this is a continuance from our ANRAD. And at the last hearing, if you recall, Janet had determined that the floodplain on the site was at elevation, was it 360?
136.
Yeah. It was an AE floodplain, which means it has a designated elevation. And our engineers confirmed that she was correct. So we have shown that on the plans. And per the bylaw, the floodplain actually has a buffer zone also. So those were the two requests, to adjust the floodplain and give a buffer zone to the floodplain. So I have 3 hard copies for you, Janet.
Okay. And we did work it out because originally I was, my sheet, I was calling it for, because I have such a wonderful colored thingy, but for the bank of the Mill River, but to not call it the bank of the Mill River on the form, that we're going with the riverfront area. because the riverfront is the resource area. And then, hopefully, if and when people want to do something on that lot, I'd like a little information on the historic mill complex. Is it the building, is it the land? But later on, when they want to do something, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't pertain per se to the resource areas now, but later on, when they want to do something with this lot, it'd be nice to have a little bit of information. I had never heard of anything like that, you know? So
In the regs,
I saw that last line, but I don't, is it,
it's mill complexes in existence in 1946, I believe, which obviously have rivers. Sluiceway. This has a sluiceway, goes right underneath the building.
Yep.
And then a channel out back. So that's the definition. They do not have riverfront area. I think it's to help maybe clean them up and get
but
them
as far as
redeveloped.
that historic, what does that entail? Does it protect the building, or is it a lot
There's no
area?
riverfront area associated with, first of all, it's a canal. It's a dug canal. Canals don't have riverfront area.
Right, no, but as
And
far
also
as,
we have the historic mill complex, which do not have riverfront area.
okay, but, so,
So the
once,
designation is basically for the building and the canals?
No riverfront
land?
area associated with that sluiceway.
Yeah.
So no riverfront area in this area here. Around for you. Here's the old mill.
Yep.
Here's the bend in the road. So we delineated, we've extrapolated the riverfront area from the stream. We couldn't get to it safely. And I think Janet has reviewed some aerials and stuff and agrees that it's accurate. So we've got the riverfront area out here. And the sluiceway goes underneath the building here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns into the larger portion of the Mill River. So there would be no riverfront area associated with the sluiceway, which is a dug sluiceway out into about here. So there's no riverfront area associated with that. And so that's what we have not shown that. We have a riverfront area. As far as 360 Main Street, this parcel, that's what we're trying to determine.
Yep.
What are the resource areas on there so we can proceed with some design.
Sure.
And, we should be able to stay out of all resource areas, including the riverfront. So the riverfront area would extend to here for this particular Lot 1
Mm-hmm.
that we've cut out.
You comfortable with all that?
yeah, yep.
Okay. What do we need to do to close the ANRAD?
I think you've got that paper, and maybe if somebody just reads the form, do they have the form? Just for
No. Do we?
what's accurate? Did somebody,
Which you sent out this afternoon, Janet?
did I?
You want to read the accurate part?
I think so, with the four attachments.
Right, there were four.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the other day with the different forms. I don't think I sent anything out today. Did you
Okay,
send
why don't
some-
we have Jim read it
Yeah,
and,
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay.
yeah.
This is just, they were asking for confirmation of the resource areas for
As
this.
depicted are accurate, as depicted on this plan.
Shown on the plan. So then on the form, we're saying what's accurate, what's not accurate, what we've changed. So with working back and forth, we're accurate with the following resources that are on that form.
And 11919, that's the plan, we're right, correct.
Okay, you ready?
Okay, go ahead.
So what do you want to make a motion to?
Thank you.
Let's close the hearing and then make a motion to approve the ANRAD.
Yeah, I don't think we have any abutters.
No, I don't see. So I entertain a motion to close the ANRAD 24622.
Make a
a motion to close the public hearing on ANRAD 240-622.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, Jim, make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the ORAD, the boundaries described on the reference plan above and in the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation are accurately drawn for the following resource areas: bordering vegetative wetlands, other resource areas, specifically A, BVW flags WFA through 27 through WFA through 48, riverfront area of Mill River as shown on accepted plan, bordering land subject to flooding as shown on accepted plan at elevation 136, Norfolk bylaw 100-foot buffer to BLSW, and Norfolk bylaw 100-foot buffer to BVW.
Do we reference this plan on the ANRAD at all,
It's on the first sheet,
on the first page?
yeah.
And this is for 360 Main Street, map 2, block 6.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor of ANRAD 240-622, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your help,
Welcome.
Janet.
You're welcome, thank you.
Give it to Fred.
Ooh, Fred.
Fred's seniority to me.
Yeah, by about 6
Who
months.
made the
That's all
motion?
right.
Jim? Jim motion? Wait, let me just get my papers,
fine, Jim.
360.
Of course.
Thank you.
Is 12 Lake Shore Drive?
Wait.
Okay, so we'll wait, and if he shows up, we'll fit you in.
Thanks.
Okay, so
Okay, 7:15, we'll do 46 River Road. Is River Road here? Yep. Okay, so we got about 2 minutes before that happens. I have an old business, discuss status of 144 Seekonk Street. All because not everybody was here at the last meeting, and since it went on for a number of months, I just wanted to say, I think we did a diligent job in reviewing all the facts. We found no issues, and that was the proper thing to do at this point. Let the ZBA handle it. They have a wetland specialist, and then when they come in front of us, we can pick up any details from there. So I think we can close the file on it for good at the moment. And now that we have the legal document that says all the liability is closed, we can all feel better. You don't have to worry about losing your king-size bed or anything. Your homes. Okay, let's go to 46 River Road.
Mr. Chairman,
Name?
for the record, my name is John Glosser, Glosser Engineering, 46 East Street in East Walpole, and I think Amy's going to put it up on the screen. So,
Okay.
so I'm here representing Tim and Terry Bowerly, who are the owners of the property. Here, this is River Road, so if you go out, is that Myrtle Street all the way out, you take a left on River Road, and then they're down there, I don't know, quarter of a mile or so on the right-hand side. So they contacted me and contracted with me to provide a upgrade to their septic system. It's an existing 3-bedroom house, so we went out, did soil testing, did topo, located pertinent information and put it on this plan. So as far as the Conservation Commission is concerned, there are a number of resource areas here. So this is the Charles River right here. So you have 100-foot inner riparian and 200-foot outer riparian. The whole lot essentially is within the 200-foot outer riparian zone, or within the riverfront area. Yeah, BVW along the Charles River here, this is mostly grass back to here, so we just simply showed the edge of the BVW. It's the same as where the river is. And then you have floodplain. So
Look at that.
floodplain here is elevation 136.5. I think the highest elevation on this lot is about 132.5. So in the 100-year flood, this lot and all of the lots around it and all of the land for probably a few hundred yards in both directions is within the flood zone. The reason that I tell you that is because, as you can see on the profile, to create the separation, and in this case, we're using an alternative system, so we only need to be 2 feet to the water table versus 4 feet, we still need to raise up the ground a little bit. So on the form, and we do have a DEP file number, and this was checked off that there's approximately 5,100 cubic feet of storage or of fill that gets placed within the floodplain here. So that was clearly shown to the DEP. They didn't comment on it, and I think the reason they don't comment on it, first of all, there's been a number of septic systems constructed along this along this area right here. They're all raised up to create the separation to water table. And so if I can just, and if I'm boring you, you can let me know, but compensatory storage shall be provided when, in the judgment of the issuing authority, said loss will cause an increment or will contribute incrementally to increase in the horizontal extent and flood and level of the floodwaters during peak flows. We're not in the floodway, so really this amount of fill, considering the large volume of water that's going to be associated with the flood, this is really just a drop in the ocean, so to speak. So the other thing, the good things for you guys is there's an existing cesspool here, which that's their system right now. That's clearly in the water table. That gets abandoned. We come out of here, septic tank, pump chamber, and we pump it up into a leach bed. So to allow this to go forward, we do need an order of conditions from this board so that we can move forward and they can move forward. This is probably next year's construction at this point, but they would like to fix this up and eventually, sell. I think they're getting to that age, so.
Okay. Janet?
Oh, question.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, so it kind of threw me when I went out and did that site visit to be out there taking pictures and then notice that the digging was over here outside the chain link fence, so.
Right,
But
right.
where that digging was is, once you reference the plan, it's okay, it's on the lot. But then I was also curious why it's not in front of the house. My first thought was the 3 big trees, but then somebody was wondering if maybe there was a well nearby, but I couldn't find any wells on any Board of Health plans.
Well, there is a well on the abutting lot here, but that really isn't the reason why I put the system here. I put the system here for aesthetic reasons. So if you went to the neighbor's lot here, their septic system just simply ruins their lot altogether because, first of all, I don't think they took advantage of an alternative system at the time. Maybe they didn't have that allowance at the time because these alternative systems have sort of been kind of brought into the regulations over time. I don't know when that system was done. But to sort of take this and sort of plop it right in front of the house, I mean, even at this point, well, it's hard for me to read this, but the finished grade, I think, is about 1.5 feet higher than the top of foundation of the house. So, my hope was, based on some of the other ones, it looked like the soils were going to be a little bit better, and I was actually hoping to keep the whole thing sort of off to the side, but I think the perk rate ended up at 40 minutes an inch. I was expecting it to be less than 10, but it just didn't work out that way. So I'm putting it off to the side, so it's an aesthetic item. It has nothing really to do with any other.
Do you think they're far enough away from the roots from those trees that they won't?
So
Those-
there's been, I can't tell you exactly, well, they're far enough away from these 3 trees here.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
the
far enough
system,
away
the
from
digging
those
and
trees.
everything, okay.
Yeah, yeah. They'll access this, they'll talk to the DPW, but I'm pretty sure they'll just access this right here. There's already been by others, and I can't tell you who, some significant work over the years done right in here. If you look at our soil logs, you can see HTM stands for Human Transported Material, otherwise known as fill. So there's been a lot of fill placed in there over the years for one reason or another. I can't tell you why. I wasn't involved with that, but there's been a lot of work in there. It's a little bit of no man's land. We're comfortable, very comfortable with our survey here. This line was marked out by a surveyor prior to us getting there. That's how we knew the other side of the fence belonged to my client.
Okay.
And they went along with what I was sort of telling them would be their best option. I still think when it's done, it's going to fit into the sort of the contours of the land, rather than sort of sticking it right in front. And it'll save those 3 trees. So there you go.
But that's part of the look of, like you're saying, the visual look, and,
Yeah.
the trees have been there for a while, and
Yeah. Next time you're there, look at the poor guy over here. He's
No,
got
no,
this
it-
huge mount. He's got whole Mount Everest
No, it
right in
just- it
front of his
kind-
house.
kind of threw me when I'm standing there, and then I'm like, okay, how come they dug over here? And I was trying to line it up with the house,
Yeah.
but it finally made sense to me,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, just like I said, if I had a better perk rate, this thing would not extend it in front of their house at all, but
And then I
Just
think
didn't
you've
look
got the PVC sleeve.
Yeah, is the chain link fence located right now on the right side of the leach field? There's an existing.
chain link fence goes right through the leach field. This is the chain link fence here, and actually their water line goes right through the
Well,
leach
that's-
field, but
That's what I'm curious about. I work for the water department here in
Yeah.
town, and we just put a water line in there, and it looks like it's going right through that leach field.
yeah, they're going to relocate it.
They are.
It has to be 10 feet away from the leach
Exactly,
field.
okay.
They're
Because
gonna
it's brand new,
relocate.
they just put it in, so,
Yeah,
not too long
he
ago.
knew that. He knew that. He even
Yeah.
knew Spike Yonker put it in, right?
Right, okay. I just,
So,
yep, that's why I
He knew
was,
that. I mean,
all right, no problem.
he knew the risk,
Yep.
but, he doesn't want to put that mound in front of his house.
No, it's fine.
So, yeah, so that's part of what he'll, he knows that that's part of this construction, to relocate his water service.
Does your plan show that?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, Calls out for it.
Yes, I see the faded.
Okay.
Janet just showed me the
Yeah.
And
faded.
you've got erosion controls on the plan now?
Oh, Jan and I sort of talked about that, or emailed back and forth. I mean, this is flat here. There's nothing here. We're 140 feet. Here's the 100-foot buffer. There's nothing really going to migrate away from here. The way this type of system will be built, they don't want to leave a lot of soil there because they got to pick it up twice to do that. So they'll take out this fill and what they need to get down to the sea layer where they're going to construct the system, and they're going to take that out. They will leave enough to backfill around the sides and over the top, but this system, because it's raised up and because it's an alternative system, will only have 4 inches of loam over the top of it. So there really isn't going to be a lot of,
Okay.
and if you want to include that in your order, that's fine with me, and then we'll let the contractor know, but they typically don't leave a lot of soil, because if they excavate and pile it, then they got to come back and pick it up again and put it in the truck. So they usually do it all at
Okay.
one time.
Comfortable with all that we don't need erosion
Yeah,
controls?
yeah.
Yeah. Any questions from the board? Any butters out there? No? Okay.
46, what is this, 46?
So, are we can close the hearing and then next month pass it, or do you have the NOI?
Yeah, I got one ready just in case, try to be
Okay.
prepared, because we got the file number, and John and I didn't have any issues, so, I mean, if everybody's comfortable with that, then.
We can do
we're-
that.
Yeah, we're good to get that done.
Okay,
That'd be wonderful. Great.
thank you, John, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, then, accept a motion to close NOI 24623, 46 River Road.
I can move that we close the public hearing on NOI 240-623 at 46 River Road.
Second,
Second?
is there any more discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Okay, Jim?
Make a motion to approve the order of conditions for 46 River Road, Norfolk.
Okay. Second? Okay, any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay. You gonna come in tomorrow for that, 9 o'clock or later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you want. Thank you.
Okay.
So remember, Janet, when we first started, I took my son down to 60 River Road.
Yes, yes. A lot on River Road.
Okay, next item will be the 15 Lincoln Road. We'll finish this paperwork.
Oh, excuse me, did we ever get our 12 Lakeshore in, or no?
Is 12 Lake Shore available?
Hang on, we're
See
gonna
anybody.
get back to the 12
Mr.
Lakeshore.
Clark.
Oh, sorry. No,
You
no.
came for the discussion on 144C Conk? Okay, we just had summarized it because we had some free time. And what it was is just that some of the members hadn't been to the last meeting or two, and I just wanted to make everybody aware that what we did at the last meeting, and now it's in the ZBA's hand. We also got a signed document from Mr. O'Hart and his attorney that all legal action has been dismissed against us. So the Conservation Commission can close their file right now, and we'll wait for Mr. O'Hart to come in front of us after they finish with the ZBA. So there's nothing else that we're going to be doing out there. So that's it. Okay. Did we pass that back?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, 15 Lincoln Road.
Oh, you're not gonna do the 12 Lakeshore?
No, we'll do 15 Lincoln.
Oh, okay, just,
On their way.
I get nervous.
Well, good evening. My name is Brian Yurgation. I'm a professional engineer from BSC Group, and I'm here representing NextGrid in our request for an order of conditions. The proposed project is located at 15 Lincoln Road, and we have a number of, it's for a large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic array. The property itself is about 5 3/4 acres, just under 6 acres. And we do have a number of resource areas on the property. Is there a chance I could get, or can I advance it? Perfect, thank you. Oh,
All this and more.
So we just received our DEP file number today. I think you probably got it, Janet. And we were before the planning board last night, and we have a Beta Group has undertaken a peer review of our project. So we met with, after receiving that, we did meet with town staff. Janet was there as well as with Beta Group, and we discussed both the comments and some of our proposed solutions. So we have, and I have a few of the plans which are still relatively in progress, and those will all be filed. So our purpose here tonight, we understand we're not going to receive, approval. We just want to introduce the project to you, and then when we come back the next time,
I'll bring our professional wetland scientist as well, and he can maybe go over some of the more detailed aspects
Okay.
environmentally.
Okay.
But trying to get this to,
Yeah, it was a little sticky.
yeah. The batteries are.
Yeah, man.
Tough to, oh, that works. That works. Thank you. Needs the Amy touch. Oh, it's going now? That's right there. Thank you. All right, so this is the property. I don't dare try that. Oh, it works. All right. So just for a point of reference, Lincoln Road is down here. We have three main abutters, if you will. We have, to the east, we have the residential properties. To the south, we have the about 300-foot wide electrical overhead transmission line. And on the western side, we have a small little parcel of land which is completely landlocked, undevelopable. It's also owned by the same owner of the locus. And then we have the Stop River. So along with the Stop River, we have a 100-year floodplain elevation of 123, which is the blue dotted line. It's completely off the property. Then we obviously have the bordering vegetated wetlands, 50-foot, 100-foot, and then we have the 200-foot riverfront, and then the additional 100-foot per your bylaw as well. So there are a number of resource areas on the property. The area that you see in yellow is proposed. That's the proposed chain link fence around the outsides of it. And right now, the site is accessed by this gravel road right here, which our client has, the owner has an easement to use that. So what we're proposing to do is just to come in with a short access road, a couple of equipment pads, which will store the battery storage systems, the inverters, and all that. And so we have a large photo. See if I can have any luck here. I shouldn't have moved it.
Go, it toggles both ways, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, as I mentioned, we had originally filed the plans, and this was one of the plans from the original submittal. And basically, the site, as you know, it was a former auto salvage yard or junk yard, and over time, there's been a lot of automobiles and parts and so forth which have magically disappeared. It's really not too magical, because if you look at the site, the topography, you'll see some really steep hills and piles and so forth. And if you look back on Google Earth in time, you'll see that they magically disappeared. But they're all there and buried over. Other than that, the site generally, it drains from the south and the east to the north and west to the Stop River. And what we propose to do is just to kind of flatten out that topography. And then in order to, we had proposed a infiltration basin at the northern extent of the property, which would capture all of our runoff, recharge water into the ground. But some of the comments that came back are we have a very steep slope back here, and it was just really going to be too steep, prone to erosion. So part of the comments we've decided that we're going to go with the subsurface system. And that's going to eliminate that. It's going to also allow us to keep a little bit further away from the resource areas with our proposed limit of work. If I had any luck, I could get to that. But that's the project in a nutshell. I mean, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, and if I have any luck, I can show you the proposed, the revisions that we've made.
Since last night.
No, well, oh, actually, here we are. They're just out of order. Actually, believe it or not, there were a couple that were made today. So this is the proposed plan right now, and what we have is a very large system here of subsurface chambers, and runoff will still flow in the way that it does now. And what's going to happen is we have a bunch of riprap lined swales, and one in particular here at the rear of the property. It's very difficult to see, but there's about 5 catch basins which are located in the center of that swale, which are going to collect all our runoff, and then they're going to discharge 5 different locations into this subsurface system. And the system is designed in accordance with, DEP stormwater management standards. We do have an overflow, but it's per the design, there will be no overflowing even in a 100-year storm. So it's only in storms in excess of that, and there would be a stone-lined apron right there for overflow.
Can I ask a quick question? When you're talking about having catch basins out there, usually catch basins are in a paved area. Okay, so are these in the middle of a grassy area?
No, so this is going to be a stone-lined trench, and it'll have steep side slopes, and there'll be domed catch basins there at the bottom of that swale. So all the runoff, which is flowing down the site, is going to hit that, and then it's going to enter those catch basins there.
That's something we'll have to go through, because you're going to be, if this project goes forward and you have your little solar things, you're going to have grass or some sort of plants underneath there. So, what kind of runoff, same thing, the angle, the slope that's going on there, how much runoff are you talking about without getting erosion that justifies having those catch basins down there? So this will be interesting one.
Yeah, sure. So, in reality, I mean, this whole area is going to be planted with sweet savanna grass mixture. It's just a mixture of native grasses. And the way they typically, NextGrid operates their sites is they'll mow it probably just twice a year. So the grass will typically be about, a foot high, but it will never get above, knee level. So in reality, I think there's going to be a lot less runoff than the HydroCAD modeling suggests. But nonetheless, I mean, I think it's conservative, but it's not going to be really channelized runoff because of the way the grading is. But we do have, a number of measures in here. We also have another stone-lined swell here, just to kind of intercept any runoff that if it does start to channelize. And but I hope I answered your question.
And did this pull, because the other system that you had, I think was in the 100, 0 to 100 riverfront area, did this get pulled out of that 100-foot riverfront area?
It did get pulled back. It is not completely outside of it, though, no.
Tisk. Okay, we'll work on that. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But the one thing I will say, if you recall, the other plan had, grading impacts all the way to the property line, and now we've removed a lot of those by going subsurface and not having to deal with that very steep slope that's there, which would obviously create a lot more potential for erosion and sedimentation of the resource area, which we obviously want to avoid.
So when you say stone, are you just basically talking riprap, and it's going to
Yes.
channel, it's not going to be a channel, but it's going to bring the water to the domed basins?
Correct. So that's right. This right here is a swale, a shallow swale that's completely lined with riprap. And at the bottom of that, there'll be a series of 5 different catch basins in there. And then each one of those catch basins will have a short pipe, 5 or 6 feet long, which will discharge into the chambered system underground.
And where does it go from there?
It'll infiltrate into the ground, and in the event of any storms above 100, greater than a 100-year storm, there is an overflow pipe right here. Well, there's an outlet control structure here, which is a drain manhole with a weir in it. The weir elevation is set high enough so that it will make sure the 100-year storm does not discharge over the weir.
The only issue I have is, which we're going to have to look at the peer review, is for soil contamination. Because what we're doing now is we're taking the contaminated, what's on top, flowing down into the basin, and we're driving it even further into the ground in a catch system. So now the contamination that may be in the top foot, might be settled, is now being purged down and then further into the aquifer.
Sure. So a couple things. number one, in order to construct the system, they're going to have to completely excavate and remove all the soil that's there. However,
How far down are they going? Or what?
the system is, I don't recall it, and I can't read it from here.
Yeah,
It's, the chambers themselves are 4 foot high,
okay.
and then there's a foot of stone beneath them and above them, so it's about a 6, and with a couple feet of cover, I mean, it's about a 7-foot excavation, I'm
Do you
guessing.
know where the contaminated areas are?
So, yeah, let me get a little bit more on that. The whole site is contaminated. We know that from historical evidence in the past. And there was an LSP who was on board with the project, and he never got his work far enough to where they actually had a remediation plan. And I think the owner went, I don't know if he went bankrupt or he filed some sort of financial hardship, and nobody ever heard from the LSP again, and nothing's been done. Part of this project is my client is going to, they're going to clean up the site completely, so.
What about-
However, to get to that point, we don't know the extent of the contamination yet, so that's something that we're going to have to study. And then
Okay.
once we determine the extent of it and, all the testing that's going to be required, and soil sampling, then a remediation plan will be able to be figured out, and then, yeah, they're going to completely clean the site. So I think some of that, will speaks to your concerns.
Well, right, because the last thing we want to do is, this whole area seems to be somewhat alluvial, and what we don't want to do is drive any of the contamination even further into the soil,
Sure.
into the aquifer.
One other thing I did want to point out, when we did the survey on the ground, our surveyors noticed there was a drain manhole way up around this portion, and then after a little further digging, there was a pipe that directly discharged out to the resource area, untreated. If you go back in time in Google Earth, if you go back far enough, you'll see an area right basically where we're proposing it that appears that it was an old basin of some sort, detention basin, and I think maybe it was you, Janet, who even mentioned it too. But
If
after that-
someone has a chance to come in and look through the files that are here, because I think that was one of the starting the cleanup remediation things that was done, so it might be good to have somebody just take a couple
Sure.
hours to come and peek through.
You also mentioned you were going to go down maybe 6 feet or so, 4 to 6 feet. What if you hit one of these junk cars that you mentioned? What happens? That gets taken out?
That's going to all have to get taken out, yeah. And absolutely, if it's within the footprint of the system, but that's
part of
if
it.
the site wasn't even contaminated and we hit, debris like that, we'd have to keep going until we get clean, native material.
Is that the intent? Is going to be removal of all, or as much of the car parts and stuff that you've, on the whole site?
I think that the answer to that's really going to be determined once we find out the extent of the contamination. Yeah, I
Because
can't
usually
really- I
DEP
don't
would
have enough
require that
information.
anyway, I would think, but
I don't really have enough information
Right.
right now to answer that fully, but.
We'll want to know that.
Hmm?
I feel like we'll want to know that.
Oh, yes. Well, I think Janet's suggestion that we do get a peer review, hire a consultant to help us out on this, and, yeah, go through the old files and pick up anything that we can find and share it with the client, and then, yeah, just watch it, and as this progresses, make sure that everything's done properly to
I mean, it-
decontaminate the area and make sure the water flow is clean.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's overall, it's really a great project, because it's gonna take a site that's contaminated, it's gonna clean it up. It's a very unsightly, old former auto salvage yard with a couple of buildings here that are in quite a state of disrepair.
It's a much better use for the project, for
Yeah,
the site
and
than
it's gonna
is
generate,
currently being used for,
Yeah.
so, or.
renewable energy, and that's typically. I wish my client Daniel was here. He was supposed to be, but he could explain it a little bit more. But they offer a discount in energy as they put energy back into the grid. So the people that are in this service zone all receive some sort of a discount on their electric bills. But yeah, overall, it would be a great project, and.
One other question, if I may. The area that you plan to have the riprap and the rock, How far is that from the Stop River? Your first map showed there was a 50-foot boundary, then the 100-foot. So
Sure.
is it 150 feet or more, or?
That's a good question. So this line here, the outer line, that's the edge of water when we surveyed it. This line here is that's the edge of the BVW. And it's tough to see on this. It's very tough to see. I'd say it's, close to 100 feet maybe. Oh, that would be great if you could. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have that distance dimensioned
That's
on this
okay.
plan, but I'd venture to say, in this area, that's about 100 feet. Yeah, we'll dimension all that when, like I said, it's really a progress plan. It's pretty close to complete, but we'll have a full set that we'll resubmit, so.
Okay. Well, thank you. It was very informative.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is continue this one until you're ready with other plans, and we'll have time to get a peer review consultant.
Great.
Work with us. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
if-
very
no,
much.
Wait, Dave, if
Yeah,
I might.
yes,
no,
Janet.
As far as peer review, because I think Planning Board already has Beta that they're using.
Right.
I think on the bottom of their letter or something, they had said that they didn't review the wetland stuff, and if they were sent a copy of the notice of intent. So I did talk with Rich McCarthy if it was okay if Conservation hired Beta for the wetland stuff, since they're already familiar with the project and have those people.
That would
So-
make sense. yeah.
Okay, so just so we know, we'll have to get an estimate from them, and then you people will cough that up, just so we can keep this rolling along.
Sure.
Okay, I haven't checked with Beta yet either. I wanted to check with Rich and bring it to people first, so.
Okay. I mean, the timing is going to be critical because, we ideally, we really want to be able to respond to the peer review before we come back to you. So this just doesn't keep going on and on. So I don't know. I know you're probably going to set a
Oh, and I have another thing.
date,
Sorry.
but I don't know if that's going to be.
Another
Yeah,
thing.
know
January
how-
may be too
might-
soon.
Yeah, I mean, we would be ready, but I don't know how quickly. we
But
can
also
jump on
with
it.
the notice of intent, and I think DEP mentioned it too, but we didn't get the backup for the resource delineations that was supposed to be included with the notice of intent.
Yep, the field data sheets and.
Right,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
yesterday.
all that's going to be.
I did the turnaround in the driveway, and the gates were open, and I'm like, ugh. But it's, number one, it's shotgun season, and I didn't have permission. And then I was gonna go back and call to see if it was okay to go, because I haven't been to the site yet.
You have permission.
But I didn't have the backup information, so it's like, let's just wait till we see that stuff too, so.
Yep. Well,
Is
then
that-
we'll get you that
excuse me, is
sooner than
that-
later.
Is that left open right now for people to go?
It is, and I think even during our conference call, when, if you remember, my client Daniel was on the phone, but he said you have, full permission, town staff.
So I just wasn't sure if that was open to have somebody go in and out and then locked, and I would be embarrassed to go.
No. Yeah.
So they're leaving it open right now?
Correct.
Awesome, super.
Just wear your orange.
So even, well, definitely.
Hunter Orange for sure, yeah.
Till December 31st. So members, I guess if you wanted to go out and peek just to see what that looks like, but just
Once the
please,
snow goes.
and remember, we're still in deer hunting season.
Yeah.
Okay, very active season. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Janet, regarding,
Somebody from the audience
Oh.
wanted to.
well, I have questions first.
Oh, okay.
Regarding Beta, do we have to put that out to bid?
I was checking with Rich, because I think, and Amy too, I think said 5,000, but it might be up, it might be 10,000. If it's under that amount, you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
So,
So we can ask Beta and what they would
To get-
charge, and
right,
depending on that, if we have to go out to bid or not. Okay,
Right.
that's good.
sounds like a plan, because they're already doing the review for planning board. I don't know about ZBA, but they had the comment on the bottom about not doing the resources.
Yeah.
But if somebody wanted to done, to send him a copy of the notice of intent, so it's like, that should be,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
our thing.
Does anybody else on the board have any questions or comments? Anybody in the audience regarding this project?
I raised my hand, but Janet covered it.
She's good.
The only question I have with the access road, would some type of a non-permeable, like an asphalt, with protected sides, be better than a gravel road going through there, depending on how close it is to any of the wetlands?
Well, we'll wait and see what planning board has going on, and
know
I think
we've-
they have a little paving area there, and then
Yeah.
waiting for.
I don't
fire
even know if it's his
department.
property, though, that's the other thing.
No, that is, because I've checked
Okay.
that with assessors.
That is all owned by the owner. I guess the question is whether or not that could be paved. I mean, we're proposing to pave it once we hit our property into our site, 275-foot long by 18-foot wide. But where, the electrical companies have the rights over that, they don't typically pave over their easements, so.
And have you heard back from the fire department yet, as far as,
We did. We actually, that's why I spent some time today. They wanted, they commented, we received it yesterday, that they wanted a 15-foot wide clear access on the inside of the fence. And so we've responded to that.
but no specifications about if it's paved or gravel?
No, they said it just has to be good enough for a pickup truck. It doesn't have to be, graded like a road or anything like that.
Okay, okay.
The other thing, though, is, there's no fire danger with the panels themselves, so but, I mean, nonetheless, that, people need access to it.
And also, too, if somebody got hurt, a hunter or something, but, if ambulances or whatever had to get up there, so you never know, you want. I do like the part that and I don't remember how far up, but the driveway goes up, so anything is coming back towards Lincoln Street. It's not going as far as runoff or anything, not going.
Correct, there is,
the
right,
site.
there is a high point
Yeah.
somewhere around the transmission lines. Actually, I'm glad you haven't closed it out yet, but, or kicked me out yet. One of the comments you had was about the gap in the fence for wildlife, and that you wanted.
Did I? Really? I'm so thoughtful.
I thought so,
No.
but, as
But
our-
that would be, well,
Next Grid has gone out, they went, door to door around the neighborhood, and one of the neighbors,
yeah, all right.
he was
I remember
very
there was
concerned
something-
because of his dog, so he actually didn't want the gap, because he's concerned about something happening with his dog, running away, getting in there.
And further down, it used to be a natural heritage area, and they usually like fences up, but it's been
It's
taken
no
off the
longer
map,
mapped,
right?
right,
Right.
exactly.
So,
But I'm sure that'll be addressed with the peer review, so,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Anything else, Janet?
oh no, I think he did well tonight.
What's the DEP number? The 240 dash what?
624. We just got it right before 6 o'clock. Yeah,
Okay,
624.
so, do we continue this in January or February?
Well, if we aim for January for them, and let's see how far we get with getting consultant and comments.
Okay,
And then if,
case, we'll just, call you up or whatever,
Yes, we-
request that continue.
or we'll call you and say, let's continue.
oh, and last thing, did we get green cards or, okay.
Okay, so I'll
Thank you.
accept a
Good
motion
night.
to continue 15 Lincoln Road, NOI 24624, until January 8th of 2020.
Jeez.
At 7 o'clock?
Sure, 7 o'clock.
What is this,
To continue
15?
15 Lincoln Road, NOI 240-624 to our January 8th, 2020 meeting at 7 o'clock.
Second,
Second?
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes. Okay, Lake Shore Drive, going once, going twice.
No show.
No show, so I'll accept a motion to continue that till,
What needs to happen?
Janet?
Oh, well, no, you know what? Because our stuff is,
Done?
according to my stuff, if you read your notes that
Yes.
I spent time on, conservation concerns have been addressed. Unclear if Board of Health has any final revisions. And I thought that the system was okay. They might have, that they might have a little tweaking to do with stuff. So as far as our stuff, we could go ahead and close.
Okay.
And I have the order of conditions ready.
Okay, good, let's do it.
Ooh.
Uh,
Would be nice if they
Did he
check.
move his, I think he moved
I thought we
everything.
had done this already.
Yeah.
I thought he moved everything. That was Jim's
Yeah, that
project.
was-
Well,
Yeah,
last
thought he
time
would
Joyce
redraw
was
it.
here, because she was going over the stuff, and she's like, no, the plan's been revised, this isn't, you know.
yeah. But you've got everything you need, we're set to go. So, yeah, we'll close, let's,
Should we wait
We
to
can
hear from him and make
retract.
sure we want to close it?
No, that's safe. They weren't here, we're on our own, so let's just go for it.
Okay.
so, we need to retract that motion to continue and accept a motion to close the hearing on NOI 24621.
Make a motion to close the public hearing on NOI 240-621.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes. And you have the NOI.
To Jim, and did you guys sign that 23? Okay, then we'll let you
Give
go
him
and
to
sign,
Amy.
okay.
Alan,
Sir?
we need to pass it.
Oh, I thought it was already passed. Go ahead.
No.
I missed
Make a motion to issue order of conditions for NOI 240-621.
624.
1.
621.
621, oh, I'm
Yep,
sorry.
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Comments from the audience? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? It passes. Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one.
620.
You're looking at Lincoln Street.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah.
No, that's not close.
Okay,
And we did, 46, right? 46.
all right, action items, 64 Cleveland Street,
84.
84 Cleveland Street. Extend the COC.
Tomorrow, 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Night.
The COC for Cleveland Street.
Lakeland Farms, Cleveland, oh,
That's it.
certificate.
Lincoln Farms is Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland Street, no, it's an extension of their order of conditions.
Yes,
They're not done working yet.
okay. What are you signing there?
84 Cleveland
Oh,
Street.
for extension, okay, I'll accept a motion to extend the order of conditions for 84 Cleveland Street, number 24577.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes. Okay, 15 Harlow Avenue. That's, they
Certificate.
want to pass?
No, yeah, this is a real, well, old order of conditions, number 421. So they're having the closing tomorrow, so they need the certificate of release. Because nobody ever got their final paperwork on the order conditions.
Okay. So I'll accept a motion for 15 Harlow Avenue, number 24421, certificate of release.
Make a motion to release 15 Hollow Ave, number 240-421.
Second?
Second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes.
Rolling like
Okay,
it's too.
let's do the minutes. November 13th, has everybody read those?
I have something on page 2.
Uh-oh,
What?
Action items.
yes.
What's, no, what?
Pass that down.
Pass what down?
Oh, yes. I saw-
That there.
Janet,
What?
did Amy give you information, or Amy, did Janet give you information for the emergency certificate for Stony Brook. You have, in parentheses, Janet, help me out with the wording here.
Oh, yeah, I had that circled.
In bold black letters.
I forgot to tell you that one
I
part.
forgot it was in there.
We were just, she wanted to make sure everyone's reading these like they say they do.
We all did.
We all
Amy, thank you
saw
for
that.
checking.
You know what's funny is I circled that.
Yes.
I
So-
never-
I asked Janet to proof it before I
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
I caught that one.
so we just have to remove that?
Thank you.
And then
And-
the only other thing that I saw was the
And
one-
then,
Wait,
River Road.
let's get on that, we just have to cross it out, right?
yeah, cross
I don't know, I kind of like that screaming right there.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
What other,
And then under public hearings 19 Frederickson Road, I
Yes.
think it should be say, just will be placed near, not will be placed near. It's just a little thing, I don't know if that matters.
And where was it? I'm sorry?
Under,
19 Frederickson?
seconds?
yeah, installed for safety will be placed near with a D. I don't know if that matters.
Fourth sentence,
Near but not on.
placed, yeah.
Placed with a D. I don't know if it actually matters if we change that or not.
No, probably-
Just take out but not near. And make. put a-
No, just put a D on place.
That's all.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters, but.
That's good. Thank you.
Good to everybody's reading ahead of time. Okay, is there any other comments, questions? Entertain a motion to accept the minutes of November 13th, 2019,
As amended.
as amended. So moved? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? It passes. Okay,
Pass that to Amy.
the summary of proposed amendments to 310, what do you have to say, Miss?
No,
This-
you're going way too fast. Where are we?
Summary of proposed amendments to 320 CMR.
Oh,
10?
and did I send the whole email? I
Yes.
think they're having meetings too for discussing, so,
Just say it's ongoing.
yeah, so they put this out there, proposed, get people's comments, feedbacks, and have the meetings so people can yell and scream or say it's wonderful.
Okay.
And then at some point, hopefully in the future, then they change that stuff.
Okay. Regarding the order of conditions that are outstanding, the active ones, what
That's just.
do we
that-
propose to do there?
No, that was just kind of FYI for people.
That didn't copy well, and you don't all have copies of it. have some
I made a
here, but-
copy, yeah, for myself.
I am this attractive, but just, and did I email it? So you
Yeah.
have it? It's just more of,
Sh-
where some of you members are new, you might not be around for these, so, it's just kind of in background information for people.
Do we need to inform any of these people? Or should we inform some of these people that, of active orders to close them out?
No, that's
Send 'em a
kind of up
postcard?
them, like here for, 84 Cleveland, it was,
We
it's like,
never get colored.
your paperwork's expiring, do you want to continue
Yeah.
that? Or even keeping track, because some of them, they haven't recorded them, which is fine. But don't let me drive by and see that you started working, so. So even for you people, if you go by and it's like, wow, look at, they're working over here. So anytime you have questions, you can always call the office with, do they have a permit from us? Because it looks like they're filling in a river or something. It was
Could you make
just,
some colored copies for us?
we could, as soon as we get the ink cartridge back in. We had a little,
Well, you have that on your computer, right?
yes, sir.
So you can email it to us in
I
color.
did a whole copy paste.
Yeah,
Did you already email it?
but it came out
Email.
black and white, gray. Mine didn't print out in color at home.
You don't have a color printer at
It was
home?
I do.
color on your monitor?
I don't think.
I
I
don't
got it
think
at
so.
all.
Okay.
Well, we'll look into that and try to get everybody colored stuff.
Thank you.
And just up on top, because, when the stuff was issued, and that's why they're red, those are the people just that they haven't recorded them yet, so sometimes I'm not sure if they got the permit to say this is a buildable lot. If you buy it, we can do it. Who knows? But, and then same with expiration date, and just trying to, it's not our responsibility, but I try to sometimes give people heads up with, hey,
Sure.
you know? Okay, so we'll try to get colored off to people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because it looks like a lot of them are expired in 19.
Well, some of them, it's not so much expired, but maybe they finished up the work.
Yeah.
So this is a whole spreadsheet, whether they got COC or they're recording information,
Yeah.
but just for kind of a quick cheat, you know, I use this for going to do site visits. Who haven't I seen, who's due?
Okay. All right. Anything from our friend at Eagle Scout project? You sent them the liability?
I
Did you
sent
get
it, I
signed
haven't
back?
heard back, so
You-
I'm gonna resend that. Now that I haven't heard anything, so I didn't wanna frighten them. I figured give them
Yeah.
a little time.
Okay.
Have they been doing any building out there yet, of the bridges or anything? Or the-
No.
Nothing?
I don't know. I haven't been able to.
I've gone out a couple times, but I haven't seen anything, so,
I think he just tagged.
okay.
Oh, sidebar, if I might.
Sure.
Okay, this came up with Board of Health, and I asked them to please get in touch with Conservation Commission. But I think it's come up about Board of Health wanting to put up signs about not eating fish or limiting fish consumption at fishing ponds, rivers, wherever. So to come up with a list of where people fish in town, like,
Why does the Board of Health want to do that?
I think because of, I don't know, sometimes communications lacking between departments, so I don't know how they got information, say even like Charles River, you know.
They're saying it's contaminated, or
Just, well, I, believe it or not, at
oh.
one point, there was an article
Okay.
about how basically, some say that no fish is safe to eat, or sometimes, you know, you're limiting so much per
Yeah.
week or per month or whatever. So they have specifically a couple of places that they have signs for,
okay,
but, you know, it's like, where do people fish? Like,
Yeah.
what's that, Charles
The city
River,
mills.
River Road, you know.
The state stocks that with trout, don't they?
River Road.
River Road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, so it's like, where do people go to fish, where they can, what would be a good place for them to put up the signs? So
Okay.
that's them
We have
reaching
somebody in
out
the
to
audience that would like to talk.
oh, good.
Having
Thank you,
watched
Don.
the Board of
Oh,
Health,
oh,
Dr.
introduce
Jones,
yourself.
North Street, having watched or been at the whole Board of Health meeting, the residents near Lawrence Street are aware that the old mill site is contaminated, and they are looking to get signs posted so that anyone that walks to the bridge and fishes knows
Oh, okay.
the rules. And the Board of Health was like, well, do we do just one? Where else do we put the sign? It's a big pond. How, you know, do you have to go on all sides of it? That's public property. You know, they said, well, it's on our website, the state rule that says these health conditions, you should limit your intake of freshwater fish. And they said, well, somebody comes from another town, stands on the bridge and fishes, they're probably not looking at the website. So-
True. What, and that's a Board of Health issue? Not us, for contaminated water?
Water is Board of Health, yeah.
Okay,
And this
Okay.
came from Board of Health, so
Okay.
it was more of if people know of fishing spots or where do people fish
Yeah.
from, which would be a good spot to put these signs if they're gonna, who knows where.
so
put
they're
them.
looking for feedback from us?
Fish on my street all the time, on Miller Street, over by the airport. That road,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
bridge over on that road.
Yeah.
In the summer, people are always on that, hanging over there.
On Miller?
Where the water goes underneath the bridge, yeah.
People always fish off
Yeah.
the bridge. I see people over there like most days in the summer.
Sure. Okay, we can give some,
Yeah, that's, I just,
collectively, we can just send any information to Amy and you can pass it on to the Board of Health.
Those types of
fishing
signs are not uncommon anymore.
Yeah.
I know when I lived in Connecticut, the well-known trout stream called the Housatonic River, and it's contaminated with PCBs, and you're not allowed to eat any of the fish.
And that's
And they're-
been
it's
years.
for, 75
That's the old
years or
mill,
something,
yeah.
Are they sorry if I
Yep.
missed this. Are they like actively testing for different
I-
things in the water?
There's Dawn again. I thought there was a
It's the
couple
site
of
itself
places.
more than the water.
Yeah.
I thought they
concerned
had,
with.
from 2 spots, I thought they had, but I haven't, it's been verbal, there's nothing in writing
It's not
that
just the
we've
water,
gotten.
it leaches up from the soil beneath the water. Because the,
Donna?
whatever
And
I
metal, heavy
wonder
metals
in-
and
Wait,
things settle.
Let Donna, you go ahead.
So the developer, I'm going to use this black thing as a sample. The developer was going to take the old mill site and LaRusso property and develop 2 different projects. This part, the mill site, has contaminants have been found. If he was going to develop it, he needed to clean it up. Be sure that it got cleaned up. I believe right now he has put a hold on this, and he's just going forward on this. So the current owner is the Mann family. They have gotten with the state DEP that they are financially unable to clean it up. The EPA has gotten involved. The citizens made the state aware of it. Now the state is working with EPA to say, what do we do from here?
Gotcha. What,
So-
do you know what they found? Sorry, do you know what they did find in the, what was the contaminant? Do you know?
There is a report, there's many
Okay.
details,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I
Easier to list
don't
what
remember
isn't on
them.
the site.
Yeah, it's got everything.
Is that
It
a
makes me
lot?
think over by on Miller Street, there has to be, that river has to be like
Why?
that. Because it's right near the airport. I bet there's like PFAs and things like that, all the firefighting foams and
But
airports.
it's running toward the airport, it's not running away from it.
Yeah, I don't know. With runoff, and I bet there's stuff in there. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right,
For
so
another
we'll
day.
just, yeah, if we know of any water holes, fishing holes.
Fishing, yep.
All right. I think that does it for tonight. Anything else? Any other business, Amy, you have? Any other correspondence? Okay, let's entertain a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Meeting is closed.
I got.
So we covered both hunting and fishing.
We did.